If you're an IT or tech leader who's comfortable, then that's the most dangerous place you can be in. So it's not fired, not promoted, just forgotten. 1 in every 3 tech leaders change jobs, despite how bad the job market's been. And if you haven't, you might think that it's loyalty, while your competitors call it an opportunity. Right now, only 30% of employees are truly engaged in their work. The rest are just detached, drifting, and hoping that they do not get hit by the next reorganization, right? And these are the telltale signs of career stagnation. Now, stagnation is a silent killer. It doesn't hit all at once. It'll slowly corrode your ambition, like boiling a frog so slowly that you don't even feel the heat until it's too late. So in this video, I'm going to show you why career stagnation is a slow killer, the real reasons why leaders like you finally make a move, and this is what we found from talking to thousands of tech leaders, and a practical plan to start exploring a change without blowing up your lives. Now, a toxic environment isn't always yelling or politics or abusive bosses. Sometimes it's quieter. So there's no clear growth path for you. So when you do ask for a promotion, it could look like that your boss says, oh, you're not ready, or there's no opening, or someone else is in the line, right? Or worse, your boss says like, oh, my hands are tied, whatever that means, right? And then there aren't any leaders who will champion you. You're just on your own. And after a while, it starts feeling lonely and even pointless. Then there's this low-grade but constant chaos. You constantly see a lot of your own productivity, your team's productivity simply going to waste in firefighting. Now, what should be taking months, take years to get done, and you realize that you're just like sitting here wasting your potential here. But after a while, you give up. If you subject people through this kind of like pain of like it's taking so long to get anything done, everybody will give up. Or perhaps you're in a culture that rewards survival more than innovation. So everybody is busy greasing their things, they're greasing their own wheels, playing these little office politics. While you feel unheard, you feel unseen, you feel even under leveraged, like you could be doing so much more, but it's almost like nobody cares. And the real problem is that these kind of things, they creep in so slowly. So this is where I was trying to give you the frog analogy, right? If you throw a frog into a boiling water, it'll jump out. But if you put the frog in the water and heat it so slowly, it does not realize that it's dying. And that's precisely the career stagnation for most tech leaders. Slow changes, it's the small compromises that you make, constant and gradual disengagement, right? You don't feel the pain until years of your potential have already evaporated. And because the decline is so slow, you don't act. And then you embrace the comfort. Then this comfort becomes a painkiller. It numbs the urgency to change. If you're talking pure numbers, then staying will at best net you 3 to 4% raises. In many years, you might not even get that raise. But if you make strategic moves, then 10 to 15% raises are common. Now, small differences like these compound over decades, and they just like compound so much that there's the difference between decades worth of lost earnings. But it's not even that straightforward of like, hey, am I getting 10 to 15% bump? It's not just that. It's also your marketability. So see, whenever you're making a strategic switch, you will be judged on your past role. What did you deliver thus far? So if you were in a thriving environment where you were getting great results, you get better opportunities in the next role. But if you were stagnating, it affects your marketability. Your story that you're supposed to tell, like what did you achieve? Oh, well, nothing, not much. Your skills were plateauing, right? Your exposure was this narrow. You didn't do much. And in most likelihood, you'd have to make a lateral at best, or most likely a downward move just to get out of that stagnating situation. Not very much increment. And you won't feel the financial stagnation month to month, but when you start comparing your people who were at the same level as you, we have seen like 100 to 300K differences more common, but like we have even seen like differences of $500,000. They made more because they made the right moves. It does not take long to just like have that widening of a gap. They chose the right moves. You didn't. Also, and this is the sad part, that most leaders only change when staying the same becomes more painful than leaving. But comfort, like I said, delays that moment. It acts like that painkiller that hides the real problem until it's almost irreversible. So At this point, you have to really think and think hard, like who's really making the choice about your future? You or your boss? You or the next reorg? You or the company's budget cycle? If your entire plan is that, oh, I hope they promote me, then you've outsourced your career to people who aren't even thinking about you. Nobody cares about your career more than you do. We have spoken to thousands of senior tech leaders, and what we constantly keep finding is that this career development or lack thereof has been the number one reason of them leaving their current role, of them like making the switch. So every time someone works with us and lands their job, they almost always say like, oh Varun, I should have started this sooner. I didn't realize that these results were possible, or I didn't realize that it would be this easy. And they say such things because of one simple reason that's very common for human behavior. It's like people act, like I said, when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of making the change. My job with creating videos like this is to help you understand, like, most of the times, the opportunity cost that you're paying, aka the pain of staying the same, while our services cater to the right-hand side of the equation, which is like removing any pain from the job search. Basically, what we do is like we take the entire job search effort from your hands through our done for you service. We'll run your job search, we'll do everything, and we'll book the interviews for you without you having to so much lift a finger. All you have to do is show up for those interviews and we guarantee placements. And we have landed thousands of interviews like that in the last year alone, right? And I know that it might be hard for you to see right now, but I will say it's not too much to ask for a culture that energizes you instead of like training you all day, right? It's not too much to ask for better alignment with who you actually are as a leader, so you get to do more of those things. It doesn't hurt to ask for clear visibility of, hey, what is it that I'm doing for the next 3 to 5 years, right? Having the right compensation that reflects your true market value, right? More time, more balance, more self-respect for yourself, right? More time for your family. And these are all of the things that you deserve. That I'll say. But you gotta be willing to make the right moves for it. It won't happen by sitting around comfortably. And all it takes, it's not much, all it takes is 3 to 4 months to make a career-defining move. We see this time and again. And your life could be drastically different in 3 to 4 months, and you could be looking back at this as a very pivotal moment in your career. Or it could stay the same. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you're someone who wants to be in control of where their career goes, here's a specific bite-sized step-by-step plan for you. First one is audit your environment, and audit it like crazy. Like literally ask yourself, what happens if you do not do anything to get out of this current role in the next 2 to 3 years? And I say that because without a clear plan in place, you'll spend about that much time in this role. Most tech leaders that we work with, they he and haw about how their current place sucks, but they continue to stay there. We've been working with so many folks that we started talking to back in 2023, and they were complaining about their workplace, and out of the blue they reach out to us and they tell us like, hey, they have either faced a layoff or they are facing a layoff, and it took almost like facing a layoff for them to realize like, hey, I should start working towards my job search, right? So really ask yourself, do you see a clear plan for yourself? Do you see you taking on more responsibilities, more ambitious projects, or are things going to go into maintenance mode from here? Do you really think that by staying here, you're stacking on meaningful experiences, you're creating stories that you could leverage to land the next role, or are you just repeating the same old? And lastly, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about your work in general? Do you feel excited to wake up every morning and head to work? How do you feel by the time it's lunchtime hits, right? Are you almost disengaged by then? What are the aspects and what percentage of your work do you actually love? What parts do you hate or dread, right? This will get this specificity, this audit will get you like, hey, whether or not I like my job, whether or not this is worth pursuing or not. And that's the first answer that you have to look for. Now, the second thing that you have to understand is to chart out a clear why. Because when you're trying to get out of a company that you have worked for a long time, it's important that you have this why. There's a high degree of resistance that you will have to be working against. We are hardwired to procrastinate as humans, right? So you perhaps have developed a thick comfort layer, a degree of comfort that you may not subconsciously be willing to let go. Even though you consciously want to make the change, subconsciously it's continuously dragging you back, right? And many leaders who are stagnating often say like, oh, I'm seeking the next challenge, I'm always looking to step outside of my comfort zone. While they're saying all of that, right? Anybody can say that, words are cheap. Their actions do not match what they're saying. They keep wanting to do something, yet still having some very believable excuse for their inaction. Like, oh, my in-laws are at home, I don't get my time for jobs. Or, oh, my son has this basketball practice that I have to take him. That's why I cannot have much time for job search. Like, yeah, sure, that's what you get. It's the same attitude, it's the same energy like that morning alarm. You keep snoozing until it's too late. So they casually look, like a lot of the very common answer that we get is like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm casually looking for opportunity. What does that casually looking even mean? Oh, I'm keeping an open eye. What does that even mean? Like, and in this phase, like years pass. They convince themselves that, oh, they're doing something about it, but they're not, right? And that's why it's important to have an absolutely clear why. It has to be intrinsic because you're not doing it for anyone else. It's about your career. It's when that why is so absolutely clear and brutally honest, it will poke you. It will remind you to persist. It will enable you to act. It will save you from that procrastination and your own BS excuses that you keep giving yourself, right? So really think and think hard. Why the heck am I doing it? What is missing in my current situation? What do I want out of my career? Am I getting what do I want out of my career? Define that why and use that to your advantage. Now, thirdly, you want to define what you are an expert at. So instead of marketing yourself as a technology leader who like, oh, I help solve business problems with technology, or I build strong data cultures. And we see a lot of leaders like talking about themselves so generically that it hurts them. Like, what does that even mean that I solve business problems with technology? That's literally every technology leader out there. Literally everyone, right? So you have to go specific. Don't be a jack of all trades, because like specificity is what wins for senior technology leadership roles. This is one of the ways we nail so many interviews, because we are so specific. So you want to be able to define for yourself, like, hey, do you thrive in big company environments or small company environments? Because in many cases, it will differ. What functions do you specifically serve? It's not just technology. So maybe it's software engineering. Software engineering, you could be more on the product engineering side, or you could be on the software operations side. You cannot be just IT. It will be either you are on the infrastructure side, you could be on application side, you could be on security side. You can't just be a data leader. You would either be focusing primarily on data platform engineering, you could be focusing on data analytics, advanced analytics, right? You could be focused on data governance. There are so many nuances to it. Then thirdly, think about like, what is it that you specifically built? And I'll give you an example. So you want to think about like, what did you specifically build, transformed, or scale? Then think about what kind of companies could use this expertise like this. For example, like Hospital Network is hiring for a director of data engineering to unify their patient data across multiple EMR systems, right? And they want somebody who's already integrated these HL7, FHIR data sources from multiple sources. They have managed like HIPAA compliant cloud environments, and they have delivered analytic solutions in a highly regulated clinical setting. And if your background then is an ad tech clickstream data, then you're not less capable for this role. You are just irrelevant. People will choose for somebody who has actually done that, who's been in the hospital industry, right? And for most leadership roles, what we have found is that there are only 5 to 15 truly relevant candidates in the market at any given time. That's a real competition. You're not competing with thousands of candidates, so don't go generic. The more specific you are, the better chances of either A, you get found, or when you apply, when you reach out to the right hiring manager, they can very precisely see that you are that person, right? And so once you have defined like, hey, these are the kind of companies, these are the kind of roles where I'm truly an expert at, then there's not much more left to do other than just start. And by the way, if you're a senior IT or tech leader who wants to navigate this strategically with a clear message, a clear plan, a team running the search for you, that's exactly what we do at Wolf Mentoring. We land you your next role guaranteed without you having to do a single thing. We take care of your entire job search from your hands. We know what works in the tech job market. We'll fully manage your job search. We'll book you interviews on your calendar for the right roles, right? The roles that you choose. And all you got to do is show up for those interviews. We're very transparent on our pricing of our offer. So please refer to the video on our website. If you look into the description, there should be a link that will take you there. Please note that this offer isn't just for anyone, right? It's a guaranteed offer. So we only work with those who can absolutely offer a guarantee to. And for that, my team will conduct a very thorough market audit before we even make you an offer, right? So you have no pressure to decide. If you're interested in getting a complimentary market audit and a resume review, then book a call with us by clicking the link below, going to our website, reading about our process, see if you qualify. And then from there, I'd love to speak with you.